We are here in the Netherlands, in the Rij in Amsterdam, where Money 2020 will be in June. And I'm talking here to Petel. He's the content director of Europe Money 2020 and Asia. Let's discuss what's on the agenda in 2018. Excited you're going to Amsterdam with Money 2020. What will be the focus, you think, for the European Money 2020?
Well, it's got to be the opportunities arising from open banking and the PSD2. We're going to cover a little bit around the complexities, but for me, it's all about where new companies and existing companies, so some of the banks, the innovative banks, are exploiting the opportunities. And we're beginning to see that once you get away from all of the inertia and politics surrounding open banking and the PSD2.
We have a number of years where there was first some animosity and that the startups would basically threaten the existing, and now it's all love and everybody's appreciating each other and saying we're innovating. Do you now see practical examples where startups work together with the big the legacy organizations and make new products?
Sure. So I think we're starting to see the partnership come through, and I think banks have gone from the cycles of kind of moving from denial to acceptance, and I think we're yet to see really game-changing propositions between the two. The partnerships are happening, so if you see Santander Bank and Cabbage, that's a great partnership. But has there been any new propositions? I'm still not sure there has been many yet.
We want to move past the proof of concept and go into real production. Okay, you have I saw about 8 different areas. I mean, artificial intelligence was there, so I thought that was really interesting. Is that you have a separate stage on that? Is that true?
So yeah. So we have a series of sessions called the AI Deep Dives. So we had it in Vegas, where we brought Steve Wozniak, we brought Ray Kurzweil, and a number of kind of domain experts from Stripe, from Google, and from Apple to come along and really share their insight around machine learning and AI. And so we're going to carry this series onwards, and in Money 2020 Asia and also in Europe, where we'll start to bring some of these thought leaders, as well as, more importantly, the experts within these kind of interesting companies like Stripe, Apple, Amazon, and Google.
So blockchain and crypto and Money 2020, will there be a serious discussion?
Absolutely. I think there's a fork happening at the moment, and I think you've got people like Vitalik, which are very vocal. So Vitalik from Ethereum is very vocal about moving away from greed and actually solving real world problems and making it more inclusive. Whereas you've got the other side of the debate where there's a lot of greed that's engulfing the industry, and I think this part needs to change, and hopefully we'll start to see that happen in 2018 and in 2019. I think there'll be some major incidents along the way which will shape this discussion and debate. Okay,
well, I hope that the professionalization of the crypto industry and the role which the financial industry can play that you will discuss that in June. Let me ask you another question. There's other things you're covering, but you're also responsible for Asia. And Asia, the Asia conference in March, that's going to be unbelievably interesting, because all the interesting innovation in financial are happening in India, in China, and in Southeast. What are you going to cover in that conference?
So you're right, it's the most exciting region in the world, and it's going to be a lot around platforms. So if you think about the platforms that Ant Financial are creating, the platforms that Tencent are creating, it's all about platforms to converge the way that consumers live their lives. It's their social life, their retail life, and financial life all coming together, delivered through one platform, or you can call it a super app. So that's what's one thing.
And is China dominating there, and is dominating the whole region with those kinds of investment they can do everywhere?
Pretty much. So they have investments made across Southeast Asia and across India, and they're trying to create extensions of their own product sets in other marketplaces via national champions. So that's one place. And then if you look at what's going on in India with the India stack, that's nothing short of phenomenal. There's been some negatives to this, but how can you govern a country with 1 billion people without having some sort of digital ID stack? So I think there's going to be some interesting developments. And if you look at India and China, they're massively different, because one is closed and one is open. Because the India stack, new companies are building on top of that stack. So you've got Uber building on it, you've got Google building on it, you've got potentially WhatsApp building on it too.
And you say the India stack.
Yep.
And I mean, they just replaced money. A huge amount of people went into digital, What is that digital stack and how is it developing?
So it's comprised of 3 layers. The first is the ID layer, so that's the Aadhaar system. The second is the payments layer, so that includes their real-time systems as well as direct debit systems. And then on top of that, you have the personal data layer, and that is essentially the India stack.
Okay, and that's owned by the Indian companies, or is it also?
It's owned by the government, and it's an open platform which enables other companies to build services on to connect to identification, but also to connect to the payment systems.
How good is it?
So the real-time system is extremely good and comparable to any real-time system around the world. The ID layer is very robust. It's just they've had some teething problems, which they're looking to resolve.
Okay, and that's you're going to talk about that in Singapore. When is it happening?
So it's happening the 13th to the 15th of March.
In Singapore, huh?
Yeah, the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Amsterdam.